Hi, kindergarten. So today we're going to be looking at the book When I Was Young in the Mountains again, all right? So I want to talk about the illustrations, the setting a little bit, and I want to talk about maybe some things you might notice from the story When I Was Young in the Mountains. I drew a little mountain there to remind you. So this is the first book from our third Wit and Wisdom module, and these books are all about things that happened in the past. So they're going to compare things that happened in our country a long time ago and the way things are now. So long ago and present time, those are opposites, okay? And I have that word opposite there that we're gonna discuss over the next couple of days as well. So one thing I want to do is I want to look back, all right? And this book is set a long time ago. It's set in the past. The author is thinking back to when they were young and how things were when they were young, okay? It seems like they spent a lot of time living with their grandparents in the mountains, and times were a lot different then. So there's a picture of the grandpa giving her a kiss when he came home from working in the mines. And I want you to notice how things are different. Maybe some things are the same. I noticed that they're having supper together. You probably do that today with your family. All right. I noticed that the girl ate too much and her tummy hurt, and she has to go outside. They did not have plumbing inside their house. There was no pipes. So she had to go to what was called an outhouse, or they called it a Johnny house. So that's definitely something different that happened a long time ago. I noticed that they swim in a water hole, which is like a pond, and there's snakes, and they don't even seem to get upset. Right. You don't swim like that. You swim in a pool probably. I noticed this page. This is really cool. I want you to look at this picture. So that's a water pump, and there's a well underneath the ground, and that's how they get their water. They have to pump it up, right? And then they would fill up their buckets. And they would carry the water up to the house for their baths. And they would go in a big iron tub. And then they would warm up by the stove. And Grandma makes hot cocoa. Okay. I noticed that they go to school on Sundays. And I noticed that they did a religious ceremony called a baptism in the river. Let's see. I noticed that there's a snake that comes in the yard, and their grandma has to, well, she kills the snake because it was dangerous. And they took a picture with it to show how long it was. Okay. I noticed that the family spends a lot of time on their front porch. Okay. So there's lots of things for you to notice and wonder. That's one of the activities that I want you to do. I want you to draw a picture of something you noticed from the story and complete the sentence frame. Okay. Another thing I want to talk about and review are verbs. All right. Verbs are action words. Those are words that describe action in a story, like cooking, or marching, or washing, or painting, and things like that. Those are called verbs. They're action words. Now, in this story, which happened a long time ago, they use something called past tense verbs. And to change a verb from present to past tense, you have to add an ed to the end of the word. So I have some verbs listed here. This one says kick. That's an action word. So if you're talking about something you're doing right now, you would say, I can kick a ball. But if you're talking about something that happened a long time ago, you would say, I kicked the ball. Now, to make something past tense, you add an ed to it. So the word kick becomes kicked. And that means that you did it a long time ago. So I added ed right to the word. Walk is something you might go now. You might say, I'm going to go for a walk after supper. But if you wanted to talk about a walk that you did a while ago, you would say, last week I walked in the park. You would add ed to it. All right. So adding ed to a verb makes it past tense. It means it happened a long time ago. And that book, When I Was Young in the Mountains, happened a long time ago. So there's a lot of words that have ed when they talk about things that they did. There's another activity. There's 6 verbs here, and they're listed in their present tense. And what you have to do is copy the word and add ed to them at the end. So this first one says kick. You would write kick and add ed, so that would become kicked. All right, so there are 6 verbs. You have to copy the verbs in the space and add ed to them to make them past tense. Kick becomes kicked. Cook becomes cooked. March becomes marched. All right? That's an important thing to learn about, especially when we're going to be working in our journals. Maybe we'll focus one of our journal writings on using a past tense verb in it this week. So there's 2 activities. Draw a picture of something you noticed and complete the past tense verb activity. Be sure you complete both of those activities on Seesaw before you post your work, and I can't wait to see what you noticed from this story. That's all for today.